Okay, we're going to install FactoryTalk View Studio SE. SE stands for Side Edition. It also includes, it's called FactoryTalk View Studio, but SE is Side Edition, and it runs off a local server or multiple servers. And it also includes ME, which is Machine Edition. That's used to program either an ME program running on your computer, on your desktop, or like a panel view pluses, panel view 700s, 1200s, 900s. All these use ME, and we can write a program to download into those. To run this program, you have to be an administrator. So either you have to log in as an administrator or make sure you are an administrator. So to verify this, you just go to your Start and then go to Control Panel, Users. So you may look like this: User Accounts, or switch to Classic View, and got User Accounts here. And when it comes up, it'll say Computer Administrator. If you're a computer administrator, you can go ahead and install this. If not, you're going to have to log in as a computer administrator and get rights to a computer administrator. So if you installed your computer, Windows XP Pro, without an administrator password, you're going to have to create one. Otherwise, when you try to click on this and say administrator, and you say run as an administrator, you got to have a password to put in here, or it just won't work. So if you haven't put in a password, you hit Control, Alternate, and Delete at the same time, and that'll pop up your task manager. Yours should look like this. Click on Users and hit Log Off, and I'll ask if you want to log off. Say yes, and it'll take you to the logon screen. Instead of reboot, you go to the logon screen. Okay, and you'll have your username there. You won't see it. You probably won't see administrator. You just see your username. And so you hit Control, Alternate, and Delete again, and you hit it twice. Control, Alternate, Delete. So you hit it twice kind of quickly, and that pops up a dialog, and it'll be your username. So you erase your username and you type in administrator with a capital A. It has to be just like this, administrator with a capital A. Okay, if you didn't put in a password, you just hit OK. If you had a password, you're good to go to start with, so we can move on. But if you didn't have a password, you leave it blank and hit OK and log in. And then you'll come up to, after that, you log in. Instead of saying Windows user or your name, it'll actually say administrator with a capital A. And then you hit Control Panel. And again, we go into Control Panel. And we hit Users again. And it's already running. So now you'll see your Windows name, your logon name, and you'll see the administrator count with a capital A. And you'll click on Administrator. Okay? And when you click on Administrator, it'll say Create a Password. Now you can also say Change an Account. If we go back, you can say Change an Account. And here you could pick your account and make yourself an administrator. And then you could say Change my account type, and you could change yourself to a computer administrator. Okay, cancel. But what you want to do is create a password. As an administrator, you have to have a password. If you're a computer administrator, that's fine. You don't have to have a password. But as an administrator itself, to run as an administrator, you have to have a password. So you say create a password. You type in a password. I just use lowercase password. You type in password again, and again I use lowercase password. And then as a hint, I type in administrator and then put a hyphen and put password. Okay, you can't type in your password as a hint. It won't allow that. But if you put in your name, hyphen, and then your password, it won't see that as a password that's already in there, and it'll accept it. And it's a good hint if you forget what the password is. Okay, after you create your password in your administrator account, or create yourself as an administrator, change yourself to an administrator, you just log out and log back in, or just restart, and you'll come back into your account and you're ready to set this up as an administrator. Okay, so I'm an administrator, so I'm going to go ahead and just double click the setup exec. Now, what we want to do is install FactoryTalk View Site Edition. Now, like I said, this is Site Edition local on a local server or network servers, and ME for Machine Edition, and it has the Site Edition client. Now, the client allows you to run an HMI on your computer and use it. So we're going to install FactoryTalk View Site Edition, and we have these steps we have to go through. First, we have to uninstall a previous edition. I've got it installed. You may have 5.1 or 4 something. So 5.0, we're installing 5.10. But you may have 5.00 or an earlier edition. And we have to uninstall this first. Even if we don't, we have to uninstall FactoryTalk Services 2.1 that was installed with RSView 32. Okay, so RSView 32 put in FactoryTalk Services. Even though it's the same edition, you have to uninstall it and reinstall it, and we'll reinstall it in the second step so it can configure it to use the directories. Before you can install, step 3, before you can install FactoryTalk Site Edition, this FactoryTalk View Studio, you have to have Internet Information Services installed, IIS. It'll configure the web services, so you have to have it installed. If you don't have it installed, and first of all, you have to have Pro Edition. It has to be Windows XP Pro, or you can't install Internet Information Services. Okay, so I gave you the Pro Edition on the website at the learncontrolsystems.com. I gave you the Dell Restore CD and its Service Pack 2, and also gave you the Microsoft Service Pack 3 to download so you can update, as well as the .NET drivers for 1.1, 3.5 Service Pack 1, which includes 2 and 3 with it, and also .NET 4. And you need to install those. Okay, then after we install this, we're going to install RSLogix Enterprise. I got it in here, but right now you probably don't have this in here. As we uninstall this, this will come out. So make sure the SoftLogix monitor is shut down when you're installing this. And you do that by coming down to SoftLogix monitor right here, this little symbol right here, this icon. Right click on it and say shut down monitor. And just like that, it shuts down. Now we can uninstall Logix Enterprise and reinstall it in there, or install it in the first time if you've never installed it before. Okay, we will not install RSLogix Classic. We have RSLogix Classic 2.54, and RSLogix Classic 2.54 is Classic Gateway. It's the full-blown thing. It does DDE, Dynamic Data Exchange, and does OPC, Object Linking and Embedding for Process Control. And it's very important. We need this to communicate, to actually make the connection to our HMI and allow the HMI to talk with the processor in the SoftLogix or the ControlLogix, CompactLogix, whatever you're using. On your computer, if you're using the SoftLogix, I recommend that. It's a ControlLogix in software. It should have already been installed. You just saw it. Okay, Do not install this because this is called, even though it says RSLogix Classic, it's light, what they call the light version. It doesn't support DDE and it doesn't support OCP, OPC. So do not install it. It'll just mess you up. Okay, let's get on installing first. Okay, it says make sure that all your remote clients have been disconnected from the HMI first before continuing. So if you had any HMIs running, shut them down. We're going to uninstall it and reinstall it and click OK. So as you see, I had it installed already. So we're going to uninstall RSLogix Enterprise, FactoryTalk View Site, and the alarms and events, and the FactoryTalk Service Platform. Now, you're probably looking at FactoryTalk Service Platform 2.1 if you installed RSView 32 works. If you didn't, you're probably not seeing anything, and you're a done deal. You can just click OK. There's nothing to install. We're going to go ahead and uninstall these programs, just as if it were FactoryTalk View Site Edition 5.00. So if you don't have these installed, you can skip ahead a little bit in the video and just get into the installation of FactoryTalk View Studio. Okay, if you had an earlier version in like 5.00 and you clicked on the ME and you went into it and it had the instant viz, the default language for some reason was Chinese, and if you clicked OK, it would give you this dialog saying there was a buffer underrun or overrun and it made an error. And if it does this, the system itself locks up the directory and you can't write to the directory anymore. So we can't reinstall. We can uninstall the program, but we can't reinstall the program. If this has happened, you need to get rid of that directory. And where it is you go to your XP drive, whatever drives your XP drive, come down to Documents and Settings, you click on All Users, then you click on Shared Documents, and click on RSView Enterprise. So if you had this installed, right click this and just delete this out of here. Just delete the whole thing. If it deletes, you're okay. If it does not delete, you're going to have to reboot into safe mode and go into safe mode and delete that directory out of there. That's the only way to delete it. See, right there, access denied. So we're going to have to reboot and go into safe mode to uninstall this. Wait till it's finished uninstalling. We'll try to delete it again, but we'll probably have to go into safe mode and do this. Okay, now it's uninstalling alarms and events. So installing the FactoryTalk services 2.1, and we will be putting this right back, but it has to configure it. So it says, are you planning on reverting back to an earlier version of FactoryTalk service platform? We are not, so we just click no and continue with the uninstallation. Okay, now it's uninstalled. Let's make sure the directory can be deleted. Okay, so click another one, Explorer here. File Explorer, and we'll come to our Drive, XP. We'll expand out Documents and Settings, All Users, Share Documents, and here's the RSView Enterprise. Okay, let's see if we can delete this now. If we can, we're good to go. We cannot. So you cannot reinstall. It'll go through the installation, get to the last 3 seconds, and it pops up a dialog saying that it can't access this directory to rewrite it. This happens if you have the Chinese characters and you click OK and you get a buffer underrun. It locks you up for some reason. The only way to undelete this is to go into safe mode. You get into safe mode by rebooting, and as soon as you see your BIOS screen, just start hitting F8. Just punch, 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 punch it. Holding it down, usually it skips over. So you got to punch, 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 punch. And you'll pop up in that black screen that says safe mode. And then write this down. Documents and Settings, All Users, Share Documents, and then delete the RSView Enterprise. Okay, I'm going to go delete it, and I'll be back and we'll carry on with the video. And we'll install then. Okay, I'm back. I rebooted. If we take a look up here, XP Pro, Documents and Settings, All Users, and then Share Documents. You'll see this RSView Enterprise folder is gone. So now we can reinstall. So that takes care of the problem. Alright, if you didn't have a previous version installed, this is where you'd be starting, and we will just start installing from here. Notice that there's nothing in this slot. Now we're going to put RSView Enterprise in this slot. So if you got a SoftLogix or something in there, I'd uninstall it. You remove the card and you move them over one. Otherwise, links will come in to the next empty slot. Whatever the next available empty slot is, that's where it puts it. That's why I remove these and move them over and make sure it goes in at the beginning. Remember, with ControlLogix, your processor can be in any slot. It doesn't matter. So you can leave one blank. Now, I said this before, be sure to click this clear configuration. Be sure that's checked. Click on it. Be sure it's checked. That way, when you go to uninstall and you click remove, this is checked for you already. Clear the chassis monitor module configuration. This chassis monitor configuration is saved in the registry, and if you don't clear the configuration, it leaves that trash in the registry, and then if you try to install another card in there, that card will not install. You have to install the same type card back into the slot, and then it'll say use the existing configuration, and you say yes, and then you can remove it and clear the configuration, and then you can put a different type of card in that slot. So be sure to clear the configuration, clear this slot out before you install RSLogix Enterprise, so we can put it in there, and shut down the monitor before you run the install program. So again, we want to come down to SoftLogix 5800 chassis monitor, right click, and shut down monitor. Same thing if you're using a RSLogix 5000 emulator. It's the same chassis, and you have to shut it down to get the enterprise in there and make any modifications. But we're using SoftLogix, which is the real PLC. Okay, let's get this thing set up here. All right, remember, you have to be an administrator to install this. So if you're not an administrator, you have to say run as an administrator and have a password to put in here. But I'm an administrator, so I'll just run it as me. Just double click to start, the setup exec, and install FactoryTalk View. First thing we do is install FactoryTalk Service Platforms. We've already uninstalled, so install FactoryTalk Services Platform. And it'll reinstall 2.1 and configure it for this application. And we hit next. Now, if you're setting this up for the first time, like I said, you have to have Internet Information Services. So you go to Control Panel and you add remove programs. Then you click on add remove Windows components. So it's just like you're going to uninstall a program, except you click on add remove Windows components. And you notice we have Internet Information Services, IIS. And you click on this and make sure it's checked. And then it'll install this off of your CD. Now this will only install on XP Pro. You can't do this on regular XP. It has to be Pro. And it'll get it off your CD. So if your CD was like when I set up, this was D or whatever drive it was when I first set up. And then I changed my drive letter to G. It was F. And then I changed it to G. So if you try to insert the CD and you say go ahead and hit next, well, mine will find it because it's already been installed. But yours will say it can't find it, and it'll have a long path. Don't browse. Just change the first letter in the directory from whatever it is to the new letter of your CD-ROM or USB boot disk. Okay, and then it'll set that up. All right. The next thing is the first time you set this up, it says web services, configuring web services. And this web services sits there for like 5 minutes. It'll be configuring Internet Information Services. And so Internet Information Services handles all your servers and database applications and hands out the HMIs and the passwords and checks the security. And so it will literally sit there and run and run and run for almost 5 minutes. Do not think it's locked up. Do not think there's something wrong. Do not hit cancel. Just keep running and running and running. And after 5 minutes, all of a sudden it pops up and you get your dialog you're seeing here, and you can accept the terms and hit next and start installing. We're going to install standard. Okay, this installs a core set of the FactoryTalk services and features. Okay, and this is a FactoryTalk Service Platform 2.1. Same thing. Next. Oh, we haven't got there yet, but next, install. We'll find out if mine takes a long time to set up again, or if it just sets right up because it's already been set up before. Okay, we're configuring the FactoryTalk directory. This takes a little while. It won't take that long. Okay, we're finished with our FactoryTalk Services platform. Just hit finish. Now we install FactoryTalk View Studio Site Edition. This is Site Edition SE, Machine Edition ME, and Site Edition Client, which allows you to run an HMI on your computer. The Site Edition is local network, what they call local host on your server, and multiple directory servers. So we'll install this. It says you're about to terminate all Rockwell automation software processes. Do you want to continue? The product should be shut down before installation. Well, if you're running an HMI or running a PLC or something else, soft PLC, it's going to terminate all those connections and shut it down. So be sure to shut everything down before you try to install this. And we hit yes. Okay, now we're at web services, and this is configuring Internet Information Services. This can take up to 5 minutes. It is, don't let it fool you and think something locked up. Your drive will be running. Don't think it's locked up or caught in a loop. It takes a long time to configure Internet Information Services for all these applications. So just let it run. It's running and running and running. Don't think it's locked up. It's working. It takes a long time. It's still running. It's just running and running and running. You can just skip ahead in the video if you're tired of waiting. Um, got about a minute or two before it's finished setting up. Okay, you're finally set up. We're ready to go. It says, welcome to the Installation Wizard. And we're putting in FactoryTalk Site Edition 5.10. And we hit Next. We accept the license agreement. We hit Next. Okay, now it wants your product serial number. Now, when I zip this up, I forgot to put this in your directory. But every program you downloaded and unzipped has the same text file in it. Everyone has README activation instructions. And it's very important. You got to have that. So go find that file, or you can write down the number here. Rockwell activation number for all products is 12030595519. You can write that down. Pause the video and write it down, or just go copy it out of one of the other programs and just paste it in. So we hit copy, and we'll have to use this for RSLogix Enterprise as well. So paste it in and then hit Next. We're picking the complete program. Complete. This is all the development and runtime software on the computer. And this option, if you intend to use this computer as a standalone HMI system, we do. It says, or if you wish to install all other components, even if some are not used, well, you'll probably use all of them, at least for the local FactoryTalk SE Site Edition. You'll use the local computer on the local host, and you'll use ME. And we'll use the client for the HMI. And we hit Next. Okay, here you pick your drive. Your Windows drive, if you just set up Windows XP on a computer, you probably got C drive. I've got a dual boot system. I got Windows 7 Pro 64 and Windows XP Pro 32-bit. And so mine's on E drive. Yours will probably be on C drive. So you pick your Windows XP drive to install on, and then hit Next. And then install. Okay, right about there is where you see a dialog pop up and say it couldn't write to the directory. If you don't delete that directory, remember it's under your Windows XP, Documents and Settings, All Users, Shared Documents, and then underneath there you'll see one that says RSView Enterprise. That has to be deleted if that dialog pops up. You have to do it. Okay, next thing we want to do is we want to put in a FactoryTalk activation, and we're installing the activation client. The server is for handing out license to different servers and different clients. We're installing the client license on this computer for this computer. Just leave everything the default checked and hit finish. Okay. Now this is saying, this is what I said here. It says you will be prompted to specify the FactoryTalk directory server location, and you'll be prompted for your administrator credentials on the FactoryTalk directory. Okay, well, you just put in localhost, and if you want to configure this later, you can use the FactoryTalk directory authentication, the configuration tool, the FactoryTalk directory configuration tool, to configure a host if you want to put in passwords. So localhost and OK, and that's it. Now we have to install. This is the pending HASP USB dongle driver. Dongle drivers are used to hold licenses, so you can take it out of one computer, move it to another computer, and move your license around that way. We're not using the dongle driver, so we'll cancel. Just cancel this. All right, it says your computer has to be restarted. So we'll restart the computer and come back, and then we're going to install RSLogix Enterprise. So yes, we'll restart the computer now. Okay, we're back. I rebooted. We got to start setup exact again. Don't forget, you have to do this as an administrator. So I'm an administrator, so I'll just double click it. Install FactoryTalk View, Site Edition. Okay, now we need to install RSLogix Enterprise. RSLogix Enterprise. We're going to put another RSLogix in here, this Enterprise, and it connects with the FactoryTalk View Studio HMI. So let's shut down this monitor. Come down to our SoftLogix 5800 chassis monitor right here, right corner. Right click on it and click Shut Down Monitor. Okay, now we can install RSLogix Enterprise. Hit Next. Agree to the license and hit Next. Okay, we're going to need our 10-digit serial number again. So we go to the README activation instructions.txt and we copy out the number and paste it in. Now we can finish installing. Hit Next. We're going to pick standard features and set installation. So this installs all the pre-selected program features to be installed. Okay, and hit Next and install. Okay, you can view the README notes if you want to. I'm going to uncheck that and then hit finish. And we're all done. Just hit exit. Okay, now start up your SoftLogix monitor. If you put it on the desktop, you can do it right here. If not, you go to Start, Programs, Rockwell Automation, SoftLogix 5800, and then hit the SoftLogix chassis monitor. And now you see we've got an RSLogix Enterprise card inserted in there. It's RSLogix Enterprise desktop. Okay, ready to go there. Okay, let's look at FactoryTalk View Studio. Okay, it puts it in here right here. So you can click on it there and you can hit Control and drag that out to your desktop and drop it off on your desktop with your mouse. Or you can come to the Rockwell software. Here's a FactoryTalk administration console. And here we got FactoryTalk View. There's FactoryTalk Tools. And here's the directory configuration wizard. Security configuration. But for what we're doing, we don't need all the security. You can learn about that later. We're just building an HMI to run on our computer, and that's all we're doing for now. So again, we'll go to All Programs, Rockwell Software, FactoryTalk View, and then you see we got the FactoryTalk View Site Edition client. This client will allow you to run the HMI on your computer desktop. And we got FactoryTalk View Studio. And the Studio has SC, Site Edition, local, on your local host. And you also have it on distributive servers if you want. And then it's got ME, which is made for writing programs, and ME writes programs for ME edition on your desktop, or ME is put into Panel View Plus, Panel View 700s, 900s, 1200s. All these use ME, and it runs inside them. And these are the displays that sit on the factory floor. And we use these displays on the factory floor to communicate, for the operator to communicate with our processors and run our equipment. So let's go ahead and start up FactoryTalk View Studio and take a look at it. We'll hit Machine Edition. See, here's local on the local computer, and here's network where you can have it on multiple servers. But we'll be working on local and Machine Edition. Now on my website, learncontrolsystems.com, at the bottom of the PLC page, you get down to the bottom of the home page, and you'll see PLC software, and you click on that, and at the bottom of the PLC HMT, God damn. At the bottom of the page, you'll see that I have a link to, I can't talk, I'm sorry. I have a link to Rockwell Automation on YouTube, and one is like 54 videos on FactoryTalk View Site SE, and another one is like 52 videos, wow, on FactoryTalk View ME. Okay, by default, this Instant Fizz ME is set to Chinese. It'll look like this when the first time you install and you bring this up. It'll be set to Chinese, and if you open this up, it'll cause a buffer underrun, and or I don't remember if it's an underrun or an overrun, probably an overrun, and it'll lock up your directories where you can't modify them and delete them. So be sure to check your language and pick English. Make sure everything's English, and then hit open. Okay, you see we got RSLogix Enterprise here. You click on Communication Setup. Okay, you see we got RSLogix Enterprise. Now, that's because I got a processor in here and we're communicating with it. If I didn't have that processor, this would just be blank. This would just be a blank, just browned out with this brown gray, and it would say not browsing. Okay, here's your communications tab. And you can see here I got some few things that are connected to my network already. And so this is how we communicate in a FactoryTalk View Studio. Alan Brownlee will show you how to use this and how to set up these communications. Here's some samples of displays. And this is just the graphics put behind. And then this here is FactoryTalk Studio putting in this information over top of this graphics that has all the connection to tags. Tags are the variables in your PLC, and you give them a name to get that address in memory to access that value, whether it be a D integer or an integer or a real, which is a float, or say to be a string or whatever, or a bit and a Boolean. We access all those with tags, and you have to load in your tags and build your tags. That first you have to write your program. You have to define all these variables that you're going to be writing in the program and save them, and they're saved as tags. You got controller tags and processor tags, and then you download them into your PLC. Once they're in your PLC, the FactoryTalk View Studio and RSView32 can read those tags, and you set it to a new tag in the HMI and associates the processor tag with the HMI tag, and then RSLogix allows them to communicate back and forth and update values. Okay, I think that's about all we need for now. We got it set up. We're ready to go. So that's about it. I'll see you later. Sorry for a bad video. I didn't get any sleep last night when I did this video. It's a little unprofessional. So I appreciate you sticking with me. Bye.